January 2026, the start of our second year as vineyard owners. In 2025, we took over these abandoned vines and we've really set the basis for us to work from this year. This year is all about leveling things up though. We really want to take our wines to the next level and make sure that they're at the standard that we know these vineyards can achieve. So this year, we're going to let you in on our journey. We're going to take you through all of the different stages, checkpoints and work that we're doing throughout the year, give you behind the scenes access of what it really takes to run a successful vineyard and all of the different things that we need to do. So the first job this year is pruning. Pruning's really, really important. It's one of the longest jobs, it's one of the hardest jobs, and it sets the tone for the rest of the year. Come with us today, we're going to do a deep dive into pruning, what we do, key things to watch out for, and how it's going to help us really level up our game this year. So pruning, what is pruning? So very simply, pruning is cutting back all of the old wood on the vine and choosing the buds that are going to support the new growth this year. The objective of pruning is very, very simple. What we want to do is we want to choose the number and position really well the new shoots for the year so they've got the best chance of creating really healthy, really ripe fruit at the harvest. So it sets the foundation for everything in the vineyard. So I'm sure you all know what pruning is in general, but in relation to a vineyard, pruning is all about cutting back the old growth from last year and positioning the new growth from this year so that it has the best chance of creating really ripe, healthy, aromatic fruit at the time of the harvest in October. It's super important because basically it sets the baseline for the whole year. Everything happens off the back of the pruning. So if you get it wrong now, it's very hard to rectify those issues after. It's also, as I said, a really, really labor intensive job. It takes ages and ages. And you can only do it in winter when the vine is dormant. So yeah, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go through, get this work started in Les Valades here, and I'm gonna take you through some of the key considerations as we go. So what pruning looks like in practice. Here we have a wonderful young vine on Les Valades, maybe 10 years old, and this is not pruned. So all of this wood here is growth from last year. You can see where we had some grapes on it. Whereas just next to it, this is one I did earlier. This is a pruned vine. And what it will look like in the growing season is that this will be bent down like that there. So this unpruned, this one pruned. Okay, so this is a good example of pruning. What I've done is I've cut all of the wood back and I've left only these two arms of growth from last year. So how it works is that these buds on the arm, I've left 4 or 5 on each side, are where the new shoots are going to grow from this year. Because they'll be in a horizontal position like this, what this means is that the shoot's going to go upwards nice and vertically, and each shoot will have roughly 1 bunch of grapes on it. That means all of the grapes will be nicely distributed in a line here, not creating clumps or anything like that. The other thing that I've done is I've adapted how many of these buds I have to how much energy the plant has. So you have to look and see, is it a plant that's growing a lot? Is it not? Plants only have so much energy, they're like humans. So if you put too many buds, then the fruit won't ripen properly. A bad example would be if, for example, I'd left too many buds, or on the other hand, if I had, in this method, for example, completely cut on this side and only left 1 branch on the other. This would cause all of this part of the vine to die off and risks getting disease that might kill the vine in the future. Pruning is one of those really technical areas in the vineyard that's been the subject of loads and loads of research and loads of work by specialists. You know, people in the modern day like Simony and Search, who are these amazing consultants, and then also historically Poussard, who invented the Guillot-Poussard method. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in any of it, and you know, here we're pretty traditional. We use double Guillot. That's a very Bordeaux, well, not Bordeaux specific, but it's kind of very entrenched in Bordeaux as a method. It's a method which has pros and cons. So the pros is that you get really nice sap flow because you have 2 sides that are always working, and so you always get a good flow of sap, so you don't risk too much having one side that dies off before the other. It also avoids, in some instances, having to make 2 big cuts, which can shock the plant and, you know, create wounds for disease to get in there. But sometimes the problem, I think, with Guillot is that you can leave too many buds on. So you have to really understand your soils, you have to really understand your vines, you have to really look at them, pause and stop, and say how much energy, how much vigor does this vine have before choosing how many buds to leave. So it's one of those things I learn every day. I'll continue learning every day with pruning. I'll never be an expert. It's not something that you can master. You know, we have our method, but the most important thing is just adapting it. So adapting, what does that mean? Right in front of us here, we have a vine, and I would say that this is a vine which has loads of energy and loads of vigor. The reason why I know that is because it's absolutely covered in really thick, really healthy, and even really long growth branches from last year. Look at that, it's absolutely massive. So this vine here, my assessment of it is, it's got absolutely loads of energy. It can carry and it can successfully ripen a lot of fruit this year. So that's going to impact how I prune it. Whereas the one next to it has far fewer thick, healthy branches on it. What I'm thinking immediately looking at this now is that this is one whereby we're going to have to leave fewer shoots. It can't ripen as much fruit. It's got a little bit less energy. You know, it's like people, no vines are the same. So what we're going to do here is really cut it down nice and short, not stress it, and don't give it too much work for this year. Okay, so they're both done now. This one, which had more energy, we have left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on each side, 6 shoots on each side, which is about the maximum, you know, that we'll go to. This one over here, we had less energy, and there's something I'm going to come on to. These are the two that we've chosen, and we've left 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. So we're already looking at significantly less. So we had the choice to take this branch or this branch. What I wanted to point out to you was pruning is also about thinking about the spacing of the shoots. If we'd taken this branch here, then we would have had all of our shoots climbing on this side here. Nothing on this side, but 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then another 4 there. And it would have created effectively just a big packet of foliage. And that's where you get diseases, that's where you get mildew, rot, and things like that. So we've decided not to take this one and just have these two here. And so now we're nicely spaced and we're in a better position for the season. So a couple of common mistakes that you see when pruning. One of them is to prune or to make an incision too close to the wood of the vine that you want to leave. The reason being is that when you make a cut, such as this here, what you're going to do is you're going to expose the interior of the wood to air. That means two things. The wood immediately where you've made the cut is going to dry out to start with. And secondly, that is now an opportunity for diseases to get into the vine. So we need to be really careful not to cut too close to the wood we want to leave, so that we don't risk getting anything in there that we don't want to, or drying out the wood and impacting the sap flow, causing issues later. Usually what we say is you leave the diameter of the wood that you've just cut off. So there, that's, you know, approximately, let's say 1/2 centimeter. So I didn't cut it flat, I cut it 1/2 centimeter off the wood that I wanted to leave. So this here is another common mistake, and it's to not think about sap flow when we're going to prune. So we have to understand that the sap flows on the outside and the underside of the vine. So it flows along here, and the shoots and the branches that are on this sap flow are going to be more consistent and better at ripening because they get more energy. And so what we need to do is we need to think about leaving the branches that are best positioned to get the maximum sap for the season. So for example, a mistake in this instance might be to take one of these two branches and keep this for the season. The problem is that these are on the top side of the branch where the sap flow is weaker, whereas this one underneath here is right on, if you come around here, right on that underside sap highway that's running under there and going straight into here. Whereas to get up to here, the sap has to go there, come up, under, over, duck, like that, which means these are less likely to create very ripe fruit at the end of the season. So really make sure that you understand the sap flow. So it's the end of the day, it's muddy, it's cold. We've made a really good start, done a few rows, shown you a little bit what it takes to do the pruning. We've got a massive job from here on out. Effectively, what we're going to have to do is complete the whole of Les Valades, move down to Les Morels before the end of February. So it's going to be really, really hard work. As I was saying before, it's a little bit like having children with the vines, and especially so with pruning. We need to take a lot of care, a lot of attention, really understand what each vine needs. There's, no kind of set approach that's applicable 100% of the time. You have to adapt, you have to understand their needs, you have to understand the context, and that's the way that you'll get the most out of the pruning. So big job, lots of long days from here until the end of February, but hopefully this should be setting us off in the perfect direction. So next steps for us is we are going to take the branches that we've left, and we're going to bend them down here and tie them to this wire that's down here. This is what this wire is called. It's called a fruiting wire, I think, in English. And that's going to make sure that all of the shoots are going upwards in the season and they all stay really nice and separated. So what we do with all of the wood that we've taken off the vines, well, we're going to put it in the middle of the row like this, and we're going to create some piles. And then the next thing is the tractor's going to come through here, it's going to roll through, and it's going to basically pulverize all of that wood. And it's going to give us a really nice little boost to the soil, free boost. It's something that's really important to us with our way of production. We want to keep as much as we can on the vineyard. So, all of the old dead wood is really important to the place, to the soils, to the whole ecosystem and microbiology. So whenever we get the opportunity to do things like that, we take it without a shadow of a doubt. So we've braved all of the weather today to be left with a glorious golden hour right at the end of a hard day's work. Yeah, the work's just really starting for us on this one. We're going to continue all of this for the next month or so, like I said. But next time we check in, we'll be in the springtime. We'll have our first shoots coming from these beautifully pruned vines. And then the game is going to change, and then it's going to be about protecting all of the work that we've done here, making sure that there's no additional growth, that we're not getting any disease developing or not risking any developing, and making sure that the vine is in balance and has the right vigor. So next time we check in, slightly different, hopefully some better weather. Thanks again for tuning in. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Looking forward to seeing you all next time.